Hi, so this how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. I am sure you all are seeing how Mexicans are retaliating. They want white people, especially in their country, to live. Why? Because they are disrespecting their culture and also not paying taxes. And I said they are doing the right thing. The same way they are trying to protect their country is also the same way United States is trying to protect their own country and chasing them away, right? So when they come to your country and try to disrespect you, show them the way, open the door. And I learned that majority of them that, some retire and come to Mexico to enjoy their life. Why? Because of the rates. America is becoming very expensive for them. So Mexico is cheaper for them, right? Why they are coming to live, it is now becoming hard for the locals. And now I remember I brought video, I think last 2 years, about some white people that traveled, I think they bought house. Some of them would just go buy houses at the beach side and all that. And then, summer locals play music and all that, go around, sing around, and the rest of it. So they were really pissed at the locals, asking them, why do you people speak Spanish? Why is it that it's always your local food? Like, how are you in a person's country and you are asking them, why do they speak their language? What do you want them to speak? If you are tired of hearing their language, go back to your own country and speak your English. This respecting people's culture is not okay, right? Let's get into this video.
It's always laughable to me that white Americans never think that they're gentrifying a place, but that their presence makes the place better versus worse. And in the conversation around the white Americans and the bulk of Americans that are indeed gentrifying Mexico City, people protesting you being there is not at all the same as immigrant folks, migrant folks being in the United States of America. Because let's start with the very real fact that when people immigrate into the United States, they do more with trying to assimilate to be American versus trying to make you assimilate into their culture. When the fun part about it is there is no such thing as quote unquote American culture because the identity of the United States of America in and of itself is stolen. Everything from its food to its music to its people are bagged, borrowed, and stolen. I don't have any sympathy for people that have so much privilege that they can choose a place in which they're going to immigrate to live, be either hosted by their job or self-funded by their work, and also refuse to learn the language, eat the food, and complain about the overall cultural identity of the place when you can just, as I always say, stay your ass home.
Did y'all know they over in Mexico tearing white people's asses up right now? If you don't believe me, you can go look it up. But the Mexicans that are in Mexico are literally coming after people who are claiming to be nomads. All those boomers who have now retired and are looking for a cheaper place to live with their retirement. They decided to go to Mexico and try to gentrify Mexico. And they said, no, sir, no, ma'am. The Mexican people are going through their cities where they've built all these places of shops and restaurants, and they are breaking everything. They are blaming this boomer generation and these digital nomads for the reasons why the price of living is going up. They say that over the last 5 years, just rent alone has gone up 43% because of them. They said that because of them, they are now having to choose between groceries, rent, and electricity. And they didn't waste no time telling them, get the fuck out. They even said they was coming on their beaches telling them that their mariachi bands can't play their music. The nerve. That's a cultural thing that's been going on there forever. Why would you think you get to go to someone else's country and tell them what to do? There was even one of the protesters who was quoted stating, this is how colonialism works, and we're going to put a stop to it before it ever even happens, honey. And they don't look like they're joking around, busting windows straight out, honey.
Please tell me that you guys have heard about the protests that are happening in Mexico, where the Mexican people are protesting against the American migrants. Ironic, right? Yeah, these American people that are moving into their country and bringing their gentrification ways along with them, right? They're increasing the price on rent, increasing the pricing of goods, essentially kicking the locals out. What I'm trying to understand is, how is it that we have a president that just signed a bill into law where it includes a budget of $46 billion to complete a border wall when the Mexicans are literally stating, we don't want y'all here. We don't want you here. Who is this wall really for? What is this wall really for? Where is this $46 billion really going? If the Mexicans, the actual Mexican citizens, are not only stating you don't have to worry about us jumping the fence, but we actually are dealing with our own fight of getting you the fuck out of here. And actually, come to think of it, if we are cutting Medicaid, right? We're making cuts to Medicaid. Why the fuck is there still taxes being taken out of my check to go to Medicaid? You guys are cutting it. You don't need that money. So why are you still taxing me? Huh? If you guys are cutting Social Security, why the fuck are you still taxing me Social Security? You don't need the money because you're cutting it. You're cutting it. So where's my money going? Is this really just a big transfer of wealth, like everybody has been stating?
So Mexico's is over there in Mexico City fucking shit up. Yeah. Okay? They said, we do not want this gentrification coming here. We are tired of the Americans working and coming to live here. Nomad workers, okay? They're saying it is messing up their economy. It is raising their rent prices because we are coming over there with our money, our American dollar, our American jobs, able to, pay for whatever. So they're like, oh, you can afford it? Then we're going to raise the price. The Mexicans is not fucking with it. They not with the shits, and they don't want no parts. So they are over there smashing windows. It's not funny. Yes, it is. They are over there smashing windows, and they are like, get out, get out. So just as much as we are trying to get them out of this country, they want them white people out of their country. And I'm not going to front. Where they are, that we need to be getting them out expeditiously, because when they come, everything changes. Everything changes. So yeah, they over there doing their big one. They over there doing their big one, and they're not playing. It's time for y'all to bring y'all asses back home. And that doesn't mean America.
Mexicans have been protesting the gentrification that has been happening in the last couple of years in Mexico. And I wanted to know what the president had to say about these protests. So I went over and I looked for some videos, and she responded to a reporter's question on the protest. And I was a little bit confused at some of her response. I would give her, like, if I were to grade the response on what, like, 10 out of 1, I would probably give her a 5, only because she says that, first of all, if like people are against gentrification, like the response shouldn't be like a xenophobic response. And I don't know if I would call that what the Mexican people are doing xenophobic, because even though she understands what's going on when it comes to the gentrification, right? That the prices of rents are going up and they're pricing out the Mexicans that live in Mexico. She understands that. A part of her is kind of like, I don't know, her response was a little bit confusing, and I'm gonna implore you to go like watch the video, and I'm gonna link it. But she mentions like the complexities of the relationship between the US and America, especially because a lot of Mexicans who like migrated over there and send money back to Mexico. And I'm like, okay, great. I understand that. However, the people who are moving back to Mexico or who are moving to Mexico are not those Mexicans that migrated, right? I'm not saying that there aren't any, right, that haven't moved back. However, this expat community is a particular community, most of the time palm-colored people who come to Mexico, who try to change Mexico, right? Who try to change the Mexican food, the flavor, right? Your ability to like play mariachi music whenever you want. Like, these are the people we're talking about. These are not the people who send money over to Mexico, who try to like integrate to Mexican culture. They try to change it. They feel like they come here They come to Mexico and they make Mexico better, when in reality, no, it's not. It's not the same, you know? So what I'm saying is that maybe there should be some kind of like special tax created for expat people. And I don't live in Mexico. I would love to live in Mexico, but like, as a person who is not native to Mexico and who knows how to make American money, like, I don't see why they shouldn't pay more or a little more, or there should be some kind of like laws put in place to protect like land and rentership and ownership in Mexico for the Mexican people. That's all I gotta say. Like, I know she does recognize that gentrification has become an issue, even though, even when she talks about like, the gentrification that has been going on for the last couple of years, she says like, you know, there's like some speculation because of like the Airbnbs, but like, maybe a lot of these like Airbnbs used to be houses that people used to like rent out to, and now they're Airbnbs. Like, I don't know the complexities of it, but I don't know, I'm gonna give it a 5. Y'all should go watch it. I'll link it in the comments.
All right, now repeat to me what you just said.
After watching that video, it had me wondering, what if those Mexicans rounded up every white person down there in Mexico and just put them in a concentration camp? No law, no justice, no due process. Just take them, lock them up right into a concentration camp, and then take all their stuff. It's their land.
Yeah.
Those people are illegal immigrants over in their country.
Right.
So they're doing just what America's doing. But what's really scary is wait until the day that one of those Mexicans starts to embrace their old Aztec traditions.
And what is that?
Look it up. You know what the Aztecs used to do to interlopers and colonizers?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And then?
I might have to go back to their old ways.
I heard about all the protests in Mexico City. So apparently they're protesting because a lot of Americans keep moving to Mexico, and now the rent price has increased 47%. Yes, that is unfortunate. However, this got something to do with the Mexican government for allowing these practices to be in place and these greedy ass landlords. This is a rich versus poor issue, not the Americans versus non-Americans. They were saying that some Americans are working from home making U.S. money, but you got to understand, up here in America, the cost of living is too damn high up here as well. They did a few interviews out there in Mexico City, and one man said that he'd be struggling to decide if he want to pay for food, if he could pay for electricity, or water, I think was the third option. We got that same issue up here. Trust me. Trust me. And that's exactly why the government and these greedy ass landlords need to be penalized, because at the very end of the day, just because some people want to migrate to Mexico City, they should not inconvenience the locals. Y'all been living there for God knows how long. Why is the rent going up by 47%? Like I said, it's a rich versus poor issue. We have that same issue up here. And in the Americans' defense, they're moving out there to start a better life, because up here, $3,000 for some damn rent. And then you got to make 3 times that. Your credit score got to be a fucking 50,000. We struggling up here too. Imagine struggling up here in America, and then you move to another country so you can live a better life, and then they jack the rent price up anyway, 47%. Now the people that live in that country, the natives, don't like you because they feel like it's your fault. We can't win for losing, and it's not just us. There's other people from other countries that migrate to the U.S. for a better life, and it don't always work out that way either. They want to cause and create division. They want us to be mad at each other, and we're not the issue. We're not responsible for the rent prices. There was another woman in the interview. She said she feels like right after gentrification, here comes colonization, and she feels like they're going to come and exploit their resources when they run out and start taking all their resources. Don't get me wrong. When Americans get their hands on something, they do be ruining it. And this is coming from an American. But Americans ain't the only ones I've seen touch things that ain't got no business being touched. And just being greedy. Once again, a government issue. We need to check our government, and y'all government need to be checked by y'all as well. These issues all lead up to people in positions of power. The government. Creating division is their specialty. And right now, like I said, this is a rich versus poor issue.
Do you know how obnoxious you have to be to piss off the most hospitable people on the face of planet Earth? right? A los ciudadanos del país de México, right? To the point where they're like, afuera, gringa afuera. Like, we're done, right? We're done. Like, it's so crazy, right? Because I made some content about this a couple of months ago. Like I told y'all, right? The Mexicans were getting done, right? When folks were going to the restaurant, y pide la carta in inglés, and like, come on, like learn Spanish, bro. It's not that hard to learn basic Spanish. And then driving up the rents, acting like you in the 51st state when you're in a completely different country. They had enough, man. They had enough, and I'm there for it. I hope all of these gringos, all of these fools get about 15,000 quiero llorars and get the hell out of there, man. Because again, they have really, really messed up the situation, or tried to mess up the situation in one of the best countries in the world, which is Mexico. Much love, baby. Estoy aquí en la lucha contigo.
Mexico erupts in protest against foreigners, particularly the gentrification that is happening in certain parts of Mexico City as well as other states, in which foreigners go to live in Mexico and then the businesses begin to cater to them. These workers are generally known as digital nomads, as they go to Mexico and other countries in order to live a lifestyle that is pretty out there, and a lifestyle that they will not be able to afford in their home country due to, of course, their home country being much more expensive than places such as Mexico. The protest itself turned a little violent, with certain businesses being vandalized. No comment as of yet of the president of Mexico. What do you guys think? Until next time, get on.
So there's two different kinds of protests going on in Mexico right now. And it is kind of weird, and, well, you'll see. Anyways, in Mexico right now, there's protests going on where migrants are coming to Mexico, and they are getting rid of them by the droves and sending them back on planes to Honduras and all kinds of different South American countries. They have all the proper paperwork, and they are going through the proper steps, and Mexico is still snatching them up and sending them back to whatever country they came from. That's weird. And then there's other protests going on where they're protesting against American citizens being in Mexico because it's driving up costs in nicer areas. Driving up food costs, driving up rentals, driving up everything. And it's probably taking a toll on their system, but they don't want them there. But they sure do like that American dollar when it's coming from the people that are here, because they don't want their citizens that are here back, and have already told Trump that they won't take them back. So what are we supposed to do? Put parachutes on them and fling them over the border? I don't understand. If we can't land them in their airports, how are we supposed to get them back? Make it make sense. The hypocrisy is absolutely crazy. I can't even believe that we're even dealing with this right now, but here we are.
Mexico is not playing with the nomads. When I tell you they are protesting, and they are going in those communities and they are tearing those bitches up, okay? The Mexicans are not playing when it comes to their land. And as I'm going to say this, babe, as they should. Because you know what? These people went into their communities trying to gentrify the community and tell them that they can't play mariachi on the beach, and they can't do this, they can't do that. Like, baby, who are you? Okay? That is their land, okay? So as they should, okay? Because that's exactly what y'all guys do. Y'all guys want to go to the lesser places, and y'all guys want to build it up, and then y'all guys want to make the communities impossible to live in because they go up and the cost of living goes up, and those people can't afford to be living the lives that y'all guys are trying to impose onto them. Also, who are you to think that you can go into somebody's land and take it and make it yours? Because y'all guys been doing that for years. Okay, y'all guys have this whole world to figure out, but y'all guys want to go there and mess with people's communities, which I think is messed up. Okay, so as they should, I am on their side because that is their land. Y'all need to get the fuck up and get the fuck out. Okay, P0ple. Clock that T.
With all of the current talks on gentrification and everything that's happening in Mexico with the protest and all of that's going on, a lot of people are wondering, is it safe to visit Mexico? Is it safe to travel to Mexico because of the tension that exists right now? Let me be the first one to tell you that most people that are speaking out against gentrification and are being rude in the comment section and everything that you see Most people are Mexicans that live in the United States. They're not even Mexicans that live in Mexico. Most Mexicans in Mexico are always going to be kind and respectful of your presence in Mexico. And yes, gentrification is an issue. And no, I do not support gentrification, but I'm also a realist. And I came from a place in the United States where the economy heavily depended on tourism. And I knew the impacts it would have on the economy when there wasn't any. And let me tell you something. A city like Puerto Vallarta, without tourism, would crumble. So it is important for people to continue visiting Mexico because it does help the economy. So these are just a couple of tips that I can give you when you come and visit Mexico to make an effort to assimilate a little bit into our culture and to what Mexico is all about. If you're just coming to visit for a week or two, we don't expect you to learn how to speak Spanish. But you can do these little acts that will make a difference in the way people see you and the way people treat you. Anytime you want to get somebody's attention, don't wave your finger at them, don't snap at them, don't say hey, don't shout at them. The only thing you have to say is disculpa. You know, that is our way of saying excuse me. That's a very common term used here in Mexico when you're trying to get somebody's attention. The second thing is always greet people in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, with a smile. It's another custom that we have here in Mexico that's practiced all the time. Whether they're strangers, whether you know them, it doesn't matter. Always greet people. Anytime you make eye contact, depending on the time of the day, it's important to acknowledge them by greeting them. When somebody's eating, always say provecho, provecho, provecho. That is almost like saying enjoy your meal. That's another custom that we practice here in Mexico. Very often everybody does it. So anytime you see somebody eating on the side of the road at a restaurant, you make eye contact, provecho. And then the last thing is, how do you say? If you don't know how to say something in Spanish, just approach somebody and just say, ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice? And then just make an effort. Use your hands, make funny faces. When people see you trying to actually communicate with them in their own language, and are not demanding that they learn how to speak English to you because you're visiting, the behavior from people towards you will change completely because they're going to respect the fact that you're trying. And that's what makes the biggest difference when visiting Mexico and dealing with nationals here in Mexico. So you can take these tips, you can use them, you don't have to, whatever you choose to do. Just wanted to put some helpful information out there in the current times that we're in, with the talks of gentrification and all the tension that's happening here in this country. Peace.
Mexico said, we ain't playing that, chief. Y'all want to kick us out? We kicking y'all out. Hey, listen to the end and I'll see how this is not helping anybody. Watch. See, the only problem that I have with this is it's a bit of a contradiction to the nation itself, Mexico, because they make a lot of money off of tourism. And this is just gonna hurt the Mexican people. It's not doing anything else. Yeah, you're gonna send some slouches back to America because, you know, they was trying to get ahead over there. And maybe they're not slouches and they just wanted to stay over there because they feel like Mexico is the country for them and it's a good place for them. Hey, I like Mexico. I've been there. Everybody should listen to this man. You see what he says? Pay taxes, learn Spanish, respect my culture. Now, I think if you go to any country, you should pay taxes, you should speak the language, and you should respect the culture that is there. That's always the complaint. That's not being racist. If we do this, if we say this in America, we're called racist. My only issue with this, I love this, honestly. I'm not gonna hold you, I love this. But my only issue with this is kind of a contradiction once again, because Americans can't leave without a passport for one. And Americans usually, I'm not saying all, I'm sure, like I said, there's some bums over there trying to get over it. And they need to answer for if they're committing crimes, you know. But most times we get visas, we do what we need to do. But this sign says, as you can see, go home, gringo, pendejo. don't really want to say that correctly because I don't want to get banned. But once again, honestly, good for the Mexican people. If that's how you feel, express how you feel. But don't contradict yourself. You can't say stop the ICE protest over here while you're doing the same thing in your country. That's the only thing that doesn't make sense. Once again, I'll say it over and over. It's a war on humanity. They're trying to make us less human. They're trying to break everybody apart. When you have problems, you deal with the root problem, not the result of the problem. You should be going after the law. You should be going after the fact that we have borders, if that's your issue. Not doing this because it doesn't do anything. Now, Mexico's gonna go broke because they need tourism. And America, we're gonna have to figure out a situation about employees because we need these employees that we have over here from different countries because we didn't prepare ourselves to deport that many people. So it doesn't make sense. We are allowing the government to make chaos out of our normal life. It's not them, it's us. They're separating us and we're allowing it to happen. So guys, wake up, man. This is what they want from you guys, because when everybody's divided, it's easy to do whatever they want. They'll manhandle us, man. Don't let it happen. I appreciate you guys for watching. So if you didn't know, now you know. Like, follow, repost. Peace. Thompson TV.
If you're not Mexican, you do not have the right to police how Mexicans are protesting gentrification that's happening in their country. If you didn't know, there was a giant demonstration on July 4th in Ciudad de Mexico protesting the gentrification that has been happening mainly by American and Canadian foreigners. As an American, I want to talk to my fellow paisanos. A lot of think pieces about how Mexicans are xenophobic and racist because of the rhetoric that was being displayed during this protest, basically telling gringos to leave the country, learn the language, go back to where they came from, etc. And I want to put this in terms that everybody will understand. Men have oppressed and terrorized.
This is all I got from this video. I am going to say something. The way United States is also doing, like, people are coming into their country and not I think Mexico is doing great. Yes. Because the same energy you are giving them in United States, majority of your people are also in their country, making their economy bad. Because you all already know that when you go to Mexico with a dollar, you get a lot at the same time, and they are not respectful. So you know what? I am of the opinion that you send them back. Send them back. I don't care. The same, one thing is that they actually think that they can go anywhere and inhabit, and it's our right because we are white and we are Americans. It's always them telling you I am American. I'm like, dog. I'm so sorry, but it's true. I don't know if you have do you know I'm American? Who cares where you're from? Okay, now let's also get into politically, business-wise, economy-wise, and all that. Let's balance it. I already said what I said, but yeah, let's balance it up. Now let's talk about how it is going to benefit United States and also benefit Mexico. It's really crazy how United States think that they can just be a country on their own, not wanting people to come in except white people, not wanting other people especially people of color, because Mexicans are people of color. But the same people you do not want in your country, you all travel to their country to mess up their territory. Majority of them are not paying tax. They do not respect the culture, right? And all these things are very vital. You cannot be in a country and you are not contributing to them and you are making life harder for them. Because it is also when you pay tax, the government will use your tax to for social amenities and all that, improve the well-being of the country. Then respecting culture. Don't you know what it means to have a culture? Is it because you don't have anyone? Because, like, people, culture is people's way of life, and because you do not have one doesn't mean that you should come and make the culture, like, disorganize the culture or not respect the culture. So you should always respect the culture. And I also think that both countries should look for a way to sort their problems. I love the fact that their president is Claudia, right? Is also returning energy, because it is the same energy this man is giving them that they are also trying to return. You cannot be chasing them away in United States, and you want to come to their country to enjoy. Like, how is that even possible? I know that place is like excuse me. I know that Mexico is like, people's the best or one of the like easiest place to go on vacation. But while you are on vacation, are you doing your best to maintain their culture and uplift the people there? Right? So if they are not doing well, send them all back home. Let them come. Some also, I learned that their passport, maybe their visa also expired. They have to also stay back. But then Mexico should also, I understand now at this point in time, everything going on is not like, it's not happening normally, because everybody already having grudges for one another. So everybody's trying to be right at the, they are right. United States is right. They don't want people, okay, we don't want you to go back to where you're coming from, Now, let me say this, because you all know Mexico is a tourist country, and all this tourist country, how do they survive? They survive on the income that comes out from tourism. So why you anyway chasing only white people away, and the ones that are not, it doesn't mean that the economy will crumble. But also, I think you should also look into it. What you do is make it strict, for them to come in. If they're coming and they are going to stay, they should have the right papers. Respect the culture. If there is need to take oath on the law, so they can not come and spoil your culture because their own ain't solid, So in all, I think I like what Mexico is doing. Don't say because you are from United States or you are a white person or this, for that reason, other people should not enjoy, especially the locals, right? That they shouldn't enjoy their own country and all that. They also deserve to enjoy their own country. I don't know if this does make sense, but for me, I think it does make sense. So you all can always be kind, especially going to country where you know that your economy is stronger than them. Some of them go there to actually to downgrade that, like degrade them and all that, make them feel like you guys are not worth anything. I remember 2 years ago, for those that have been following me, 2 years ago, some people actually traveled to, white people that are living by the beach side, right? You know how it is at summer and all that. The locals are going around playing music, and they were asking them to stop the music. Why do you have to speak Spanish? Shut up, go back to your country and speak English. If you do not know how to speak Spanish, go back to United States or wherever, or the Europe you are coming from, and speak your language there. Do not come to somebody's country and ask them, why are they speaking their language? Which language do you want them to speak? I live in another country and I am learning their language. I try as much as I can to know the vital, the important ones, right? So that you will be able to communicate, so that they won't even see you. It's very important. So stop all this going to somebody's country and want to be the boss. Like, who are you to come to my country and also want to boss me around? No way, it ain't happening. So I love what the locals are doing. You have to protect your territory first, as they are. United States is also protecting their territory. Are both countries right? Yes, they are right. United States want to protect their territory. They are also protecting their own territory. So bye for now.